Yahweh does not seem to like the idea of substitutionary atonement. He's anti someone else dying, someone else's blood being shed to atone for blood that was shed in the town. It has to be the person who committed the crime. Hey folks, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I read Bible so that you don't have to, and we are in the penultimate episode of Numbers. That's right, Numbers 35. What's going to happen? Is Moses finally going to die? Nothing happened last episode. You know when you get a deed for a house or something like that, and they go like, these are the dimensions of the property that you own? That's what we had. We kind of got a deed of Canaan. It's like, this is what you guys will have. So it was really just like, meh. Good for like legal stuff, but I'm not a lawyer and I'm not that interested. You know what I mean? It's just not a fun read. We're in chapter 35, and hopefully Yahweh kills a bunch of Hebrews. I don't want to make it sound like I don't want Hebrews to be alive, but I just want Yahweh to look bad. And he does that a lot for himself. And so like, I'm just at the point where I like that kind of drama. You know, maybe it's because I'm used to it. It's kind of like Pavlov's dog. Like I start reading Bible and I'm drooling for Yahweh to do something horrible because it makes it more interesting. I don't know if you've noticed this, but they rarely have something interesting happen that's good. Like the parting of the Red Sea, I think was like pretty good. Kind of like good and bad because it was like the whole point of doing it was to kill a bunch of people, like to completely kill all of the Egyptians that were chasing them. So, you know, not perfect. The God giving the 10 Commandments, you think like, oh, that's a good thing. But like if you touch the base of the mountain, you're dead. You know, there's always just this like bittersweet kind of juxtaposition going on here. And so I'm just used to it. So I'm like, I need something interesting, and that's going to be blood. You know, and I don't want to be that guy, but that's what Bible makes you. That's who the Bible turns you into. So, you know, when you're talking to Christians, just realize they're constantly being trauma dumped on from the Bible, and that's going to, you know, change the way that you think of things. Well, let's see if we get maybe like a really sweet, positive love story in the penultimate chapter of Numbers. That'd be weird, but that'd be wild. That'd be interesting. Numbers chapter 35. Yahweh spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, "Command the children of Israel to give the Levites cities to dwell in, out of their inheritance. You shall give pasture lands for the cities around them to the Levites. They shall have cities to dwell in. Their pasture lands shall be for their livestock, and for their possessions, and for all their animals." I've heard this many, many times because, as you guys know, I'm starting this new, I don't know if it's new because I haven't like looked it up, but I'm starting this new theory of Bible. And it is that the Levitical priesthood was just an ancient scam. The people wrote this, compiled this book that happened around the Babylonian exile, and they put in there all sorts of stories that were kind of probably oral tradition stories and stuff like that. And then they added in all of their legal systems, all their legal codes, things that they were going to do and how they wanted to live in their society. And then they put in there, the people that were writing this, because it was a theocracy, so they were the priests, they put in there what the priests get. And they were taken care of, right? So this is people who get fed, that they eat the sacrifices, so they're fed regularly, and they get wine, and they get some sort of like, not just the meat, but some sort of pita or, you know, some sort of cake or flour or whatever, flour and oil. And they also get tithes. They get all sorts of silver, gold, and precious metals and things from war. They just get paid shekels for different things as well. From 2 million people giving all these people stuff, that's massive. And they just say God asked for it. Here we see that they also get like cities. They get cities. They get land to dwell in. They get pastures for their livestock. They're just taken care of. And people in my comments will say, No, the Levites, they didn't get an inheritance. That was a sacrifice. That was something that they were missing out on. They didn't get one of these inheritances like everyone else. Their inheritance is being a Levitical priest. They inherit that position, the position of being taken care of. And this is where the Bible kind of shows its hand. Back in Genesis, there is a passage during the Joseph story where everybody has to pay for the grain, everyone has to give up their livestock or their property and all those things. But it says explicitly in there, but the priests were taken care of. Why do we need this information? It's kind of already saying like priests are always taken care of. That's just like a normal thing. Everybody always just takes care of priests. But I think it's just this sort of like setting a precedent for how it's always going to be. And it's like, look, even the Egyptians did that. This is just obviously people pulling a fantastic scam. The pasture lands of the cities which you shall give to the Levites shall be from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits around it. You shall measure outside of the city for the east side 2,000 cubits, and for the south side 2,000 cubits, and for the west side 2,000 cubits, and for the north side 2,000 cubits, the city being in the middle. This shall be the pasture lands of their cities. It sounds like a square. I'm not a geometrist, but did that sound like a square? The cities which you shall give to the Levites, they shall be 6 cities of refuge, which you shall give for the manslayer to flee to. Besides them you shall give 42 cities. The manslayer, in Exodus 21, verse 12 and 13, anyone who strikes a person with a fatal blow is to be put to death. However, if it's not done intentionally, but God lets it happen, they are to flee to a place I will designate. So that is what this probably is. This is the place for the manslayer. So he did designate it. That lines up. That's pretty fun. All the cities which you shall give to the Levites shall be 48 cities together with their pasture lands. Concerning the cities which you shall give of the possession to the children of Israel, from the many you shall take many, and from the few you shall take few. Everyone according to his inheritance, which he inherits, shall give up some of his cities to the Levites. Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, or continued to speak to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel and tell them, when you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall appoint for yourselves cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who kills any person unwittingly may flee there. The cities shall be for your refuge from the avenger, that the manslayer not die until he stands before the congregation for judgment. The cities that you shall give shall be for you 6 cities of refuge. And you shall give 3 cities beyond the Jordan, and you shall give 3 cities in the land of Canaan. They shall be cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be refuge for the children of Israel, for the stranger, and for the foreigner living among them, that everyone who kills any person unwittingly may flee there. This is like so much given to the person who kills someone by accident. So anyone who does like a complete mistake, but causes death, we have like tons of verses to say where they will be safe, where we're actually dedicating cities upon cities for this. How many people are going to be accidentally murdered? Like, that part's wild. What I'm assuming, because I don't think like there's cities that sit empty just waiting for accidental murderers to go there. Like, I don't think that that's the case. I think it's probably more likely that like if someone does a murder in this city, they go and are refuged in that city. And if they get murdered in this city, they go get refuge in that city. Like, that would make sense to me, rather than just like have cities full of accidental murderers, which would be a pretty depressing place, because they would just be like, I killed a guy. I don't know why. It was an accident. I just held the hammer. Then like the gravity just, I guess God let it happen. God let it happen. It wasn't my fault. He let it happen. But another thing that's significant, I think, in a passage like this is seeing how brutal the people who would be angry about this. So the people who had the loss, like if you lost your dad or your mom or something, like these people wouldn't be able to control themselves maybe. And like, obviously, you don't want to live beside the guy who accidentally killed your dad. But like, if he lives like a block over or like 12 tents away, to use a biblical number, do they know that like someone else is going to go get him? Like that's the dog eat dog, brutal world of ancient Israel. You know what I mean? And that could be the case, and it gives you an insight into, how brutal these people maybe really were, which again, kind of makes sense that they would write their God like this. They would create a God who is equally as brutal and vengeful and all those things. So we're getting a little bit of a hint. Maybe Yahweh is made up? Could it be? Could it be? But if he struck him with an instrument of iron so that he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. If he struck him with a stone in the hand, by which the man may die, and he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Or if he struck him with a weapon of wood in the hand, by which a man may die, and he died, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. The avenger of blood shall himself put the murderer to death. The avenger of blood. When he meets him, he shall put him to death. I wonder if the avenger of blood is like the person who has the loss, or maybe this is like another sort of like character. Like he's voted in as the avenger of blood or something like that. I don't know. That's not clear, but it seems like maybe it's the executioner, which, that would make more sense than just like, you got to kill that guy. You're the avenger of blood, but I don't really want to. Just joking. They probably all did want to. That's why these laws had to be in place. If he shoved him out of hatred or hurled something at him whilst lying in wait, and so that he died, or in hostility struck him with his hand so that he died, that would be a lot of like, you'd have to do it more than once. He who struck him shall surely be put to death. He is a murderer. The avenger of blood shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. This is just a weird way of wording it, but I would assume that it's like, how did that guy get killed? Heavy block of wood that you could use to kill someone. Okay, you bashed him in the... Okay, then he'll be put to death, and at high noon we will have the avenger of blood meet him and kill him. But if he shoved him suddenly without hostility, or hurled on him anything without lying in wait, or with any stone by which a man may die, not seeing him, and cast it on him so that he died, and he was not his enemy, and not seeking his harm, then the congregation shall judge between the striker and the avenger of blood, according to these ordinances. Ooh, I wish they'd explain who the avenger of blood was. We're just kind of spelling out what the accident might look like. He's not lying in wait with a rock looking to drop it on his head. He's just like doing his own thing, and all of a sudden it's like, I got to get rid of this rock, and he throws it, and then dead. Well, it's not really his fault. He was just getting rid of a rock. The congregation shall deliver the manslayer out of the hand of the avenger of blood, and the congregation shall restore him to his city of refuge, where he had fled. He shall dwell therein until the death of the high priest, who was anointed with the holy oil. That's interesting. So he has to stay in the safe city until the high priest dies. Hopefully the high priest has another 20 years in him or another 5 years in him. But that'll give whatever that amount of time is enough time for those other people to cool off. You know what I mean? Just relax, take it easy. But it's probably like you don't become a high priest at 20. You probably become a high priest at like 30, and then everyone dies at 32. So it's just like, you're never a high priest for very long. So I get that. I think that's cool. And then they'll just like, everyone will cool off, and they'll be like, the high priest is dead. You know what that means? Hezekiah is going to move back. That man killed my father, and I will destroy him, something. It'd be a good plot. And what also could happen here, by the way, if somebody like doesn't really have a lot of family ties in the town, you could go up to them and you could be like, if you'll accidentally kill someone, I'll give you a pile of shekels. And then all you have to do is live in another city for a little while. You get a fresh start. You get a pile of shekels, maybe I'll give you a quail. It has to be someone that's not his enemy, right? That's what part of the stipulation was. So he has to just like pretend like it's fake, like he didn't mean to, pretend like it was an accident, and just like go, I didn't even know the guy. I didn't even know him. Perfect plan. I'm already thinking, how do we do I'm trying to get another murder done. This is what the book does. I'm the guy that's plotting a murder. Oh, this is what the book does to you. I want the book to do another murder, so now I'm plotting it. Oh. Maybe this is just exposition for a story that's coming in the future where, they're going to do a court case and we have to know this information in order to like appreciate that story. But anyway. If the manslayer shall at any time go beyond the border of his city of refuge where he flees, and the avenger of blood finds him outside the border of his city of refuge, and the avenger of blood kills the manslayer, he shall not be guilty of blood, because he should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the death of the high priest, the manslayer shall return into the land of his possession. So this is incredible. This is allowing the avenger of blood, who now I'm very confident is the person who's lost someone, a family member who's lost the person that the manslayer killed. This person can like wait outside the city, and if the manslayer like goes, oh, I just have to go get something, well, you can't leave the city, then the manslayer can get him, and he will not be guilty. So what this is kind of saying is it's okay to kill the guy who accidentally killed somebody who you love. Like, that is fine. That wouldn't be considered like murder or something like that. That would be like a justified killing. I think that's pretty wild. Like, that is not the way things are in my country. I don't know about your country, but if somebody kills someone accidentally or even on purpose, if someone gets them back, that they're guilty of murder. Like, they would still be guilty. That would be a criminal offense that they did. Maybe if they did it in the spur of the moment, you could say that it was a crime of passion, but that would still be a crime of murder. Like, they'd still be charged with murder. Like, but this law, which is interesting, again, it's Yahweh's law. Get them back. Like, if you need to get them back, it's fine to get people back. It's not wrong to get them back. So this is just another way that like Yahweh's morality doesn't match our morality. But if we wanted Yahweh's morality to match our morality, then we could institute something like this. But I don't think anybody would want that. Nobody would be like, okay, you just have to move to another city. Don't leave the city. You know, if the guy goes to get you in the city, then he's in trouble. But if you leave the city and, you know, he gets you, then that's on you, bro. Like, that would never happen. It's wild to notice how vastly different our morality as just like average, not all powerful, not all good, not all knowing people, so vastly different than the creator of the universe, who grounds objective morality. It's just wild, actually. It's literally wild. These things shall be for a statute and ordinance to you throughout your generations in all your dwellings. So this is him saying that this is a forever one. Like, this is a good one. Don't change that. Do not change it. I guess this is just for Hebrews, but, you know, I assume maybe it should still be the law in Israel. Apparently, this is a law that he really liked. Whoever kills any person, the murderer shall be slain based on the testimony of witnesses. But one witness shall not testify alone against any person so that he dies. It seems as though they need more than one testimony to convict someone of murder. And based on only one testimony, they're not going to sentence them to death. They're going to say, well, you only had the one. But if we have two or more, where two or more are gathered in the name of murder, then we can sentence this person to death. And that makes sense. And I would say that that's pretty good. Like, we don't just want based on one person's word, yeah, we're going to do that. We need more evidence, more witnesses. But I think that Christians use this as an apologetic for other things. So keep that in mind when we move forward, because it will be an apologetic, but this is really about murder. Like, that's all that we're talking about here. I also have a feeling that we're just talking about men and free men, like not slaves, but that's just a wild guess here, just based on what it said in Exodus 21. But that's good to know that just for cases of murder, we need more than one witness. That's what we're learning there. Moreover, you shall make no ransom for the life of a murderer who is guilty of death. He shall surely be put to death. And this verse is really, really interesting because it's kind of saying that when somebody is guilty of something, when someone has done a crime, and I would say specifically murder, because it seems to be just about murder here, nobody can atone for you with money, I suppose. That's what it sounds like to me. You shall take no ransom for him who has fled to his city of refuge, that he may come again to dwell in the land before the death of the priest. So this is, again, like, we can't just throw money at this problem. These are the laws. You can't buy your way out of it. So, and that's cool. I think that makes sense. That's fine. So you shall not pollute the land where you live, for blood pollutes the land. No atonement shall be made for the land for the blood that is shed in it, but by the blood of him who shed it. This is probably a rule in Judaism that's going to come up again. So this is like the first time we get sort of a hint of it. And it's really important because Yahweh's saying this. I don't know if we hear of this again or if this is going to be it, but I want to clock it and I want to highlight it so that we all hear it. No atonement can be made for the land for the blood that is shed in it, but by the blood of him who shed it. So we will not be able to atone for this land with someone else's blood, or probably an animal blood or money or any other thing. It has to be just the guilty party, the one who shed the blood. And this is Yahweh saying this. Yahweh does not seem to like the idea of substitutionary atonement. He's anti someone else dying, someone else's blood being shed to atone for blood that was shed in the town. It has to be the person who committed the crime. I hope you guys can pick. I'm not going to spell it out for you just yet, but I hope you guys can pick up where Yahweh's heart is on this and how it might contradict what other people might come and say later. But Yahweh's immutable. He doesn't change his mind. He always just stays the same. He's so consistent. And that's definitely true, and it's definitely real, and this is definitely God, and we should definitely believe it. You shall not defile the land which you inhabit, where I dwell. For I, Yahweh, dwell among the children of Israel. This was a great chapter. I thought it was fantastic. It did a bit of a callback. I love being able to do the callback to a prior thing. There's consistency there. I love that. It's neat to point out when the Bible is consistent because it's becoming the exception, not the rule. And then there's some really interesting, kind of important doctrinal contradictions happening here, which are fun to see, and I wonder if we're going to get doubling and tripling down on this idea again, from the mouth of Yahweh. And when it's from the mouth of Yahweh, that's where it gets really confusing. I get it if this was like random ancient Hebrew law that, some random guy was coming up with. No, but this is from the mouth of Yahweh. You can tell because I read it in this voice. Fantastic. And that's a good penultimate episode of Numbers. I'm looking forward to the last one because that means that Numbers is going to be over. So I hope you look forward to it too by subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video, and then coming back next time for Numbers chapter 36. We'll see you there. Bye.